What's up, listeners? Episode 91. BNOS, we marching our way towards 100. We had a top real estate dude, a top real estate salesman named James Sheehan. Good old Irish boy. This dude's done $80 million since he started in real estate, which was only 7 years ago. So the dude is hitting it. Former grain trader, economics pro. So he's kind of a different real estate sales guy. He knows his shit, you know? This dude's advice to us is, if you're gonna buy, wait till right before the election, because he thinks real estate markets are gonna take a little bit of a dip around that time. Everyone getting afraid and skittish ahead of time, making all sorts of moves and decisions. So he goes into detail around that. Listen in to make sure you understand why he's making that prediction. This dude's also a certified negotiation expert, CNE. That's right. You get into a hostage situation, call James Sheehan, your Irish negotiation expert. Now, this dude is a pro when it comes to, and he gave us a whole bunch of tips when it comes to negotiating, whether it's in a real estate deal or any other kind of deal. So I think you can, geek out on that. That's kind of cool. But yeah, so sit back, relax, enjoy the episode, and learn about real estate with James. Peace. I do marketing as much as I can. So I'll call people sometimes, the Chamber of Commerce or some other commission or some other museum. I'll say, hey, I want to buy you guys lunch. They'll be like, oh, okay. And sometimes I'll be like, why did I take that lunch to this museum? None of the people were friendly. I walked in, they weren't grateful, they didn't care. That was a mistake. Those 20 people who are going to eat for free, they didn't deserve it. They didn't deserve it, damn it. I'm giving my food. I shouldn't have spent that money on that food. And then I walk away in my cooler moments and I'm like, wait a minute, Amr, that's dumb. All you really need sometimes is one person of those 20 to tell their aunt or uncle or friend or cousin who will call me up and say, I got a catering for a couple hundred people. I've got a budget of $2,500. Can you do something for me? I'm like, oh, how'd you hear about us? And they'll say, oh, this, that. And so I forget that sometimes it's just one person that may not even be. Here's another one. I had an event 2 weeks ago for during the All-Star NBA weekend. All right. It was a friend who used to be kind of an NBA, I don't know about legend, but he used to be an NBA star. And he connected me to a guy who runs a Park District kind of gym. And he's like, and so he connected me to the guy. He's like, hey, we're doing an event. We're going to have the community in, underprivileged kids, and probably some NBA guys are going to show up because it's the NBA All-Star weekend. I'm thinking, oh man, so this is like a park on the west side. And, I'll be able to provide them with some fruit, some complimentary food. And hey, maybe I can shake hands and take a couple pictures with some NBA people. Walking all excited, thinking I'm going to take a picture with someone from the NBA. There wasn't a single person from the NBA there. And I completely went into like selfish capitalist mode of like, why the hell did I do this then? And after I got over that for a minute, I'm like, let me just meet all these people. And I just started shaking hands. And some of the nicest people in the world, of course they are. They're beautiful human beings supporting the community. I walked away, I pulled away out of my car. I'm like, you know what? I don't care if no one calls me from that. That was just a good thing to do. And for all I know, it's just going to take one person in there to really change my life.
You got to play the long game. That's it. In any business, yeah, you got to plant the seed, and you're going to eventually. It's going to come back to you. That's the mindset that I employ. It's like you can't force things. You just put it out there, and eventually someone's going to recognize what you're doing. You won't realize it. It will just come out of the blue, and it's like, there you go. There's a big order for a big catering job that you received, or someone sends you a text and saying, I've got like 5 properties I need to sell.
Right.
And you may have thought that they weren't interested when you engaged with them 2 years ago, but they never forgot about you.
Right.
Because you played the long game. You weren't pushy, you weren't forceful.
Only focused on the short term.
Correct. Like, hey, I want your listing. That doesn't work. It's more, that's my approach. It doesn't work for me. You're providing a service, and it's like, when you're ready, I'm here.
Right.
And then when you do enough of those, eventually starts flowing in.
flowing because you've planted so many seeds.
Right. So you don't have to force things when you're in a position like when you're talking to that person who's not ready to sell in 6 months. You don't have to force them to go, oh no, you should really.
Right.
You tell them how it is. You tell them the truth.
I would love to have your business.
Right. But you know what? Actually, you might be better off selling in 6 months because your particular what you have, your product. There's going to be, there's a squeeze on that in
Give them
6
the truth.
months. Yeah, and it's like you actually probably get more money for it in 6 months. Or if they're like, for example, right now, the conversation I'm having with buyers right now is to hold off. Wait,
really?
Yeah, wait until right before the election.
Really?
Yeah, election years, especially presidential election years.
Is this residential buyers or commercial?
Mostly, yeah. It's mostly residential because a lot of consumers are driven. They can be driven by fear,
of course,
and
a lot.
Maybe
all.
Yeah, you would have seen it when in your past profession of markets. It's very like reactionary, right?
Totally.
So with
greed and fear.
With
greed
that,
and
yeah.
fear.
With that, like coming to a massive election, like mom and pop, the traditional mom and pop investor, they don't even buy cars, right? Because they're watching the news, they're seeing who's going to be elected, and they think that all these policy changes are going to happen. But the truth is, we continue to keep consuming.
Yep.
Life happens. You still have a baby. People get divorced. They still have to downsize. The kids go to college. So they've held off what they needed to do, and now they get pushed into a different market with people who were always going to buy in first quarter 2021, and now they have to buy in 2021. So they've just created more demand in their market, more competition, I should say, in their own market.
Right.
When they should have thought about buying right before the election, when everyone else is looking for the exits.
So that's why you're saying wait till right before the election.
Like October, November, yeah.
People will have some fear and sell in October, November.
Well, they don't want to they're looking at carrying it for the whole winter, and then in general, the market, the sentiment, it depends on the product. Like, it's very, like, if it's like a two-bed, two-bath condo, in Bucktown, there's loads of them. There's a good demand for that kind of product. But if you're selling like a single family home, let's say, something a little bit like a higher price tag, I think that it's just case by case.
I see.
But generally, yeah, like it just happened this past cycle with the rhetoric about recession coming. Oh, there's a recession coming, and everyone bought into it. The whole market sentiment changed because people, you talk to buyers. And it's the agents too. During negotiations, agents were throwing out the word, "Well, there's a recession coming," and it's like, "Are you an economist? Like, for sure there's a recession coming,
right?"
They're not qualified to say that, but what ends up happening is that it ripples through the sentiment of all the other buyers because their friends talk to each other and they're saying, "We might hold off. There's a recession coming," and then people are holding back, but they don't know why they're holding back. But it's subconsciously, it's like. It's
like coronavirus.
It spreads. Yeah,
pandemic.
It does. It spreads. but that's the time
John,
to strike.
Have you heard? So first of all, we got us another Irish boy here, John.
Yeah.
John, are you Irish?
I'm mutt.
We're all mutts.
I'm a little bit
You're
of
not a
everything.
mutt.
We are. Well, I mean,
aren't you 100% Irish?
Yeah, but if you go back like a couple of centuries, from the 1800s, I'm sure there's like.
What?
Bit of, I don't know. I haven't really looked into it.
You can't say Scottish and English.
But Celts, they could be. We all came from probably from Europe, from mainland Europe, eventually at one stage.
So, John, do you know what? That's funny. I'm Palestinian. So, and my family didn't live too far from Jerusalem. Jerusalem over the last couple thousand years has changed hands 48 times.
Wow.
Just crusades, wars,
Yeah.
Muslims, this, that. So
We're
who
all
knows,
butts.
right? Who knows?
Mhm.
I wonder. I refuse to do 23andMe. Have you guys done that?
No.
I feel like someone's keeping tabs on all this shit, and will know all my genes and DNA, and will I'm scared about those like futuristic movies. I'm afraid that's the world.
What's happening now? Didn't they catch that guy in serial killer in California because of the 23andMe? Right?
I think that's right.
They nailed him on his family DNA.
Is this the one where that comedian, Patton Oswalt, his wife was the one? I don't know if you guys know this story, but I think his wife was doing the research and helped find the guy. Even though she passed away after her death, they were able to find the guy, the serial killer, because of her journalism.
Wow.
Yeah. Do you know who Patton Oswalt is?
Yeah, he's a comedian. Yeah,
Great guy.
Yeah.
And sad story about his wife. But so John, what do you know? What are you most? Do you know?
Mostly probably just like German, Swiss.
German and Swiss.
Yeah, and a little bit of English and Irish.
Like I was telling you, so we got another Irish boy, James Sheehan. What's up, James?
How's it going, guys?
You just schooled us on when to buy a house because you know the real estate market.
That's right.
Yeah, you know it well, man.
Been doing it for 7 years now, so I should know it. Yeah,
7 years.
Yeah.
So 2013.
Yeah.
And I saw a stat. I don't know if it's true, but I saw a stat that said in those 7 years you have done $80 million of real estate transactions. Is that right?
Thereabouts. Yeah.
That's pretty good, man. Nothing
Thanks,
to
man.
sneeze at.
Thank you.
I mean, what was the biggest transaction you've ever done?
We sold a single-family home in Lincoln Park for 2.4.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
And do you do commercial too?
a little bit. It's mostly residential. I threw myself when I started in the business. I threw myself into everything. I grew up in the restaurant business.
Yeah, that's right. You were telling me.
I'm very comfortable in here, by the way. This is
We are in the Cedars stock room, y'all. Everyone who comes in here is like, man,
feels
this
like
is
home.
kinda-
I spent a lot of time in stock rooms for my folks' bars back
No shit.
in Ireland. But yeah, it's there was a 2.4 we sold. Yeah, there's a lot of
So on the commercial side,
the commercial side.
you don't
yeah.
do too much. You dabble.
No, but I threw myself into everything. So it was bars and restaurants is the start of it, and then how it's gravitated towards more residential is it's just we're friends with you know, a lot of people that
The
are
network.
life changing events, and they have a baby and they need to sell a condo and buy a house. So
Do you recommend a restaurant like this buy its property?
that's a great question. I know a lot of depends on your time frame. Depends on your your game plan for the like. Are you going to be?
I have an answer for you, I think.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you where we've been in the past. We've been around for 28 years, which for a restaurant in Chicago is nothing to sneeze at. That's kind of a decent chunk of change. And the goal is to be around another 28 years. I don't know if this is the spot we want to be in. Right now it is. I kind of like that. People walk up into a plaza, strip mall. We're in a strip mall,
Right.
listeners. And people walk up and it's so, what's the word? Unassuming. Wouldn't you agree, James?
Absolutely.
And it's like, what? Okay, I'm having low expectations. You're walking in with low expectations. And then you come in and it's like, oh, this dining room's kind of nice. Oh, open kitchen, that's kind of cool. And then we bring you behind the curtain. Dun, dun, dun.
You wouldn't even know there's a second story to this place.
Second story, baby. Commercial kitchen. We are pumping out lots of food, y'all. Come down to 1206 East 53rd. I got to do a little commercial here, James.
You got to pay the bill somehow, right?
That's right. So if we wanted to be around for a long time, you're saying it probably does make sense to buy, right?
Well, if you look at, I'm a big fan of like talking to people who've been there, done that, and trying to like learn a bit of
Right.
how they've done it and try and recognize opportunities that come along. You talk to the guys who have been in the restaurant business in Chicago for many years, and they bought that corner site. And when did they buy it? They bought it when, you know, the area was like
Sleepy,
wasn't even
quiet.
up and coming. It was
Sketchy.
it was sketchy, and they saw an opportunity, and they made a business for their family and kept at it. And 20 years later, they've got this big corner site that's been bought out by developers, and
Right.
that's where they've hit their home run. Now they've gotten lucky, but they've worked hard along the way, and they've maintained a restaurant business that helps keep the lights on and pay their family and pay their mortgage. They mightn't make 20% return on the restaurant business during that time, but if they can keep it operational, that's half the battle, because you're making an appreciation on
Exactly.
the building.
Yeah.
So if you're doing,
that could be the pension right there.
well, that's right. That's the long-term plan. But if you're doing that and you're just scraping by and you're paying someone else's mortgage, then you're kind of throwing, I don't know, good years after bad.
Yeah, that's right.
But if you do,
So I think at 39, my age right now, I do think I should start, now that I hear you saying this, I do think I should start thinking about possibly looking at other locations if this one is not potentially for sale, you know? And I think that's the right move, because if the goal is to be around for 20, 30 more years, then I might pay my mortgage every year with the restaurant operations. But the real winner is going to be that accumulation of real estate appreciation. I mean, in the stock market, I always talk about this on the podcast. The stock market on average over the last 100 years has doubled every 7 years. All right. The value of, let's say, the S&P 500 doubles every 7 years on average. All right. Every 14 years, it's 4x. And then every approximately 20, I think it's like 19, but let's say 20 years, it goes up 8x. All right?
Incredible.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
So, is that right? Yeah, I believe that's right, if I'm not mistaken. So 7 years is double, about 14 years is 4x, and about 21, I think maybe it's 21 or 22 years, it's 8x. All right. So I bet the real estate market in this country is similar. So if I bought a property, let's say for 200 grand to put a restaurant in today, in 20, 22 years, it could be worth 1.6 million. That's historically speaking.
Right. We don't have a crystal ball. We don't know for sure. But yeah, I mean, there's potential for, it just depends on a lot of factors. Location, depends on transportation links.
Economic,
Economic. So
it
depends on demographics. It depends on if you're going to be, if you bought it in Bucktown versus Mount Greenwood, there would be a different
huge, right? You wouldn't get that. You wouldn't get that 8x probably in Mount Greenwood, right?
I don't know.
We'd have to look.
Unless something really seismic changed, because
Right.
there's like a big shift from suburbs into the city now,
So you bring up Mount Greenwood because we were talking before the podcast started. I grew up in Oak Lawn, and I used to work at my uncle's gas station in Mount Greenwood. And some of my earliest exposure to Irish people were my friends on my block. All right. And these kids loved Notre Dame, the Fightin' Irish. All right. And I used to always hear the Fightin' Irish song on my big screen TV. I was the only kid on the block who had a big screen TV. The Arabs, for some reason, had the big screen TV. And all the Irish kids would come over every Saturday morning, watch the Fightin' Irish play football. A bunch of black dudes running touchdowns up and down the field. And there's a bunch of Irish kids hooting and hollering, and one Arab dude. Yeah, go Irish! At that age, I had no clue. Like, I didn't really grasp the idea of Irish, Arab. Like, we're just kids having fun, Probably 6, 7, 8 years old. I played Pee Wee football. That's how I knew these kids, from Pee Wee football. And so that was my first exposure. It was very positive, Of course, it was just weird that an Arab dude is just going, go Irish, go Irish, go Irish, But then in my teenage years, about 7 or 8 years later, at 13 or 14 years old, I used to work at this gas station in Mount Greenwood. And it was all Irish kids, all kids of firemen and cops, Chicago cops and Chicago firemen. And these kids did not like me. They wanted to just be, what's the word? They wanted to misbehave and drink a lot at underage. They want to do a lot of underage drinking, 13, 14, 15 years old, and come in and just steal shit from the gas station and fuck with me, And I was like, man, fuck these guys, man. So I'd get in fights with them all the time. I'd be like, give me that Wrigley gum you're trying to steal, you son of a bitch. And so I'm like, man, fuck these Irish kids. At my 13 or 14-year-old mind, I attached it to their ethnicity because I was too stupid to know.
Kids are kids.
Exactly. I didn't know that shit. At that point, I just thought they're just being racist, but they were just being dumb kids.
I know.
So it took me some time, and then I met Diarmid last week, and so for my hatred of Irish for 30 years is now done because of Diarmid. I'm just kidding.
Peacemaker.
No, good people, Irish man, very good people. So yeah, you bring up Mount Greenwood because I spent so much time working in Mount Greenwood and fighting with Irish kids in Mount Greenwood.
So back to the commercial side of things, right?
Yeah,
it's just if it's a long-term play, buy. That's the advice there,
right? For sure,
and create some speculation in as well as making money on the business too, because you can always hold on to the property and sell the business. So you've got options too.
Right. That's smart. I didn't think about it that way. Yeah, the property will live as long as.
There's some guys I go to golfing with down in West Palm. They're all they're retired. They're all like in their 50s and 60s, and I picked their brain on how they did it. And
The real estate guys?
they're all sorts.
Okay.
There's one guy who was in auto shops. He had on the East Coast. He started a mechanic shop. Started with one, and then opened up another one, but they bought the real estate along the way.
For each one?
For each one.
Ah.
And then he'd buy out other auto shops and then rebrand them and have his name over them.
Right.
Tony's auto shop, whatever it is.
Right.
Bought the real estate. But then he ended up selling 22 of them to businesses only. He kept the real estate. And now they're paying him rent.
That's good. All 22. And he made a killing off those 22.
Because they bought the package of business.
Damn.
So that's the
play right there,
That's what
brother.
the smart guys do.
That's the play right there.
Yeah.
That's the play right there, is get a nice little solid business going, and then own that real estate and then slowly start to... Because the nice thing is, like, some people do that in private equity. I don't know if you heard about this, but like, I think there was a physical therapy company example. Like, have you heard of ATI, the physical therapy? Is it ATI? ATI?
No,
Yeah.
I think there's some up on the north side.
Yeah. So let's just pretend it's ATI. I think it's ATI. A private equity company, one story I heard, comes in, they kind of do what's called a roll-up. They'll come in and they'll hire a CEO, maybe some guy out of Harvard Business School, right? 31 years old. And they'll say, here's what we want you to do. We want you to go and buy all the ATIs in Chicago, right? And he'll be like, all right, great. They'll buy those. Let's say there's 10 locations. And then they'll say, all right, now go buy all of the second tier physical therapy companies in Chicago. They're all just one-off mom and pop shops, but buy them all. We'll give you the money. It's private equity. They got money. We'll give you the money, buy each one, and now fold those into the first 10 or 20. And now you've got 30 physical therapy shops, but rebrand the mom and pop ones to ATI. Now do the third tier and buy the lower quality, whatever. And now start doing that more broadly. And so the private equity company will buy up all these physical therapy locations, right? Rebrand them all ATI, possibly own the real estate. But now they've got 100 locations of ATI that they accumulated over 24 months and sell that business for $100 million.
Incredible.
And of course, they didn't pay $100 million to ATI or any of those mom and pop shops. They gave each of them $100,000 or whatever, some small sum. So they took $25 million investment, made it 100, And that's kind of what Tony's Auto Shop is kind of doing, is he's putting his own brand out there 22 times, rolling it up, and he could even sell the 22 to Midas or Just Tires or NTB or whatever.
I think a lot of people do that in real estate too. They find a piece of land, they know what you can build on it, value add. They've got some guys in New York or East Coast that is operating a pension fund that wants to buy a 5 cap. They put the package together.
5 cap meaning 5% cap rate.
Capitalization rate.
And that I think about 5% capitalization rate as like, if I was to buy a government bond, a 5% interest rate.
Correct. Essentially, after all your expenses. So
Perfect.
You take your gross income, take off your expenses, then you're left with your net income. And basically what they're looking for yield. And they have piles of money that they're trying to employ. So instead of them putting the package together, they just go out and pick them off in the market that's ready to go. And
so what would a real estate guy, let's say you were gonna do something like that yourself. Are you saying that you would buy up a bunch of 25 by 125 Chicago lots? Or are you saying something different than that?
it could be that, or it could be mixed use existing that's kind of half rented out, and you stabilize the product and add money to it, do it up, not just like a lick of paint, but really, finish the product well, and then then bump the rents, stabilize it over a year, 2 years, and then sell it as a coupon to someone who's looking for yield from New York or California. These massive pension funds,
They got tons of money, yeah.
that just they're not in the business of putting it together and building.
No, they're not about to go to Chicago and start to look for it.
It's just like the ATIs you're talking about. It's just like the end buyer of that is not in the business of knocking on mom and pop shops and
No.
going, "Can I buy your business?"
They just need 100 physical.
They don't
therapy
have time to
locations.
do that.
Right. But let's go through the example. Have you done one of these yourself before and sold it to a pension fund?
No, but I find the product for developers who will do that.
Okay, walk me through an example. What's a medium sized example that me or John could do? Maybe its total is like somewhere between $2.5 and $5 million. That, or maybe that's even high, $1 to $3 million. Let's say.
Well, there's a deal that I'm trying to sell to some capital guys right now, and it's in the West Loop, and it's exactly that. The developers went in and they took over a building that was struggling, that needed work, that was half empty.
Well, was it a bottom floor retail,
commercial, and then units above?
How many units above?
Like 8 to 10 units.
Oh, okay. So 8 to 10 units above. So that's probably 4 stories.
Yeah,
got a 4-story building, 8 to 10 units above, commercial down below. A developer was gonna grab that.
he's done it. He's turned it over.
bought it.
He's trying to stabilize it right now.
Did you sell it to him?
He's trying to rent it out. No, they found it themselves.
Okay, so they found themselves. They buy it. Do you know what he paid for it? Is it public information? Or no?
It's out there. It is out there, but they they're gonna walk away with a nice chunk of change.
Are you able to say, because it's public information, how much they paid?
It's they probably paid a couple of $1 million for it, and they put $1 million into it, and they're trying to sell it for $5 million.
Okay, so they probably paid a couple million.
Yeah.
Put $1 million into it at 3 now. They're $3 million in, and they're gonna try and sell it at $5 million.
Yeah.
Is that a 5%? They're assuming
It's like
5%
a 5 cap, yeah.
Wow.
So, but there's guys out there, there's money guys out there that they're trying to put deals together. They're behind their desk and making their connections. That they're not out in the streets finding these deals, and they're willing to pay for that.
Okay, so here's my question to you: could you do something like that?
Yeah.
Could I do something like that?
Yeah.
Why don't we do that and make $2 million? Would it consume your entire career, and you'd have to hit pause on your?
We could do it.
Really?
Well, we can do it. You just got to find the right deal. There's deals out there. It's just you've got to find the right ones.
But also, it takes. I mean, isn't it a full-time job to put in that $1 million, get that loan, and then hire the right contractors, make sure they do a good job, and then find the buyer who's going to pay you $5 million? Would that consume me and you?
Well, you can have contacts that can help you find it as well. Then, like other real estate people that can bring you a deal, so you can have other people working for you, finding you the deal. But the thing with that is, like, the unwritten rule is, like, if an agent finds you a deal,
You got to pay him.
well, that or they get the sale on the back end.
Meaning,
Like
the $5 million transaction.
Yeah, they'll get the 2% or the 5%, whatever it
That is
is,
fair.
whatever. So that's their carrot that they get for because a lot of like guys like myself, we spend a lot of time knocking on doors and calling people, having relationships with owners for 2 to 3 years, and nothing might happen. But year 4, they turn around and say they're ready to sell. That's when you get it. So there's a lot of spinning plates, like
Yeah.
and staying in front of people and staying relevant.
Yes.
Like yourself with the restaurant business, you got to stay in front of people.
Absolutely.
And then when it's their time,
They'll come.
they'll come.
That's exactly right.
That's the
Learning that the hard way, brother.
Mhm.
What else is going on, man? So have you kept up much with, we talked about it earlier, coronavirus.
Yeah.
Have you kept up? Have you read about it? This is like becoming like supposedly everyone's starting to shit their pants about this thing.
Yeah, I'm trying not to, but it's
You trying to ignore it?
trying to ignore it, but
Me
it's
too.
it's hard to stay away from it.
The media won't let us ignore it.
My brother-in-law is in northern Italy skiing with his kids, and he works for Citigroup,
Okay.
and they've told him, like, stay at home for 2 weeks, self-quarantine.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Citigroup won't let him come back to work?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit,
and he's got
this is
a
Italy.
pretty high position there. So
Wow.
they're taking it like people are.
Wow.
They are taking it seriously. So that's
I mean-
that's good.
Here's my thing, bro. Here's my thing, dude. SARS. Zika. Swine flu. Bird flu.
Yeah. Well, swine flu was a foot and mouth, right?
Oh, foot and mouth?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I just remember these things because
Yeah.
I used to read about them from the markets.
Yeah.
And I feel like one after the next. There's 2 perspectives on this, in my opinion. One is Yeah, it's just another virus. I mean, by the way, HIV, that's a virus that we all thought was going to kill everyone. Remember that?
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, even magic was able to live from that. So, but so there's two perspectives. One is like another virus. Hopefully, our scientists will figure it out quick, and we'll move on with this. You know, the other perspective is like, you know, oh shit, is this going to be like a 2, 3, 5% death rate, and it's just going to be a pandemic, and everyone's gonna get it. It's that kind of virus. And I'm like, oh, this could be that one. This could be that one. And I thought about the numbers. If this is like a 2.5%, I did a little homework. So the research is in China, there's a 2.5% death rate.
That's correct.
Right? You heard about that
Yeah.
number? Yeah, 2.5. And I was like, all right, I've got about 300 close friends.
Huh?
I estimated, not Facebook friends, just like legit family and friends. And I was like, 2.5% is about, I think it was like 7 or 8 people, maybe 10
That's
people
if everyone gets it. That's if
of those 300.
That's if everyone gets it, which would probably be quite
Unlikely,
unlikely.
right?
Yeah, like influenza is like kills. I think I heard something the other day, like 14,000 a year from the flu.
Just the good old flu, right?
Just good old flu,
Influenza, right?
yeah. And it's like point.
Is that
like,
U.S. or that's U.S.
I
right? It's got to
think-
be 14,000.
I think it's just US, yeah, and that's like 0.00005% chance of dying. Like that's what it kills more yearly.
Right.
So there's that. You know, there's a lot of people trying to remain calm and
Right.
because it's true. Like that, it kills more people than this has. But then the counter argument is that this is a 3% chance if you do get it, so it's way higher, which
Much
is
higher.
significantly higher.
Right. It's much higher.
From influenza. Try not to think about it.
And that, right, I know, same here. I've been trying not to think about it at all, but I'm like, it's in my face. So I gotta, somewhere in my brain, I need to create space for the reality that we're so vulnerable as human beings.
There's probably more of a, what's the percentage chance that you get into a car accident? You know, it's like there's all these other things that you don't even think about.
That we're vulnerable to.
Correct.
Great point. Well done, James. Man, smart man right here. I like that.
You got to live in the moment, right? That's the key. It's like
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely.
you're putting it out there, right? If you're worried about
Totally. Talk
getting the flu.
about forcing it. Remember we were talking about forcing it earlier?
Right.
I feel like if a person is a worrywart about that and doesn't acquire the self-control to talk themselves down, if you will, and the anxiety overtakes a person, which is not to criticize anyone, but it's a reality, it could happen. Then I think somehow you become more susceptible to it.
You're like a magnet.
Yeah, I remember I would say this in comedy in the last couple of years. Okay, so I've gone through an interesting dynamic in the last 9 months. Right. So when I took over this business after my father passed away, God rest his soul, about a year ago. It was about 3 or 4 months before I took it over. So it's been about 9 months since I took over. Before that, I was really only just focusing on comedy. I was like, as much as I can do comedy, I'm going to do comedy, try and book shows, try and do this, try and do that. And doing that and just having comedy in my life, I was really forcing it. And it wasn't like I was trying to force like getting booked for shows. I was trying to force the laughs on stage. You know what I mean? And I'm like, come on, people, laugh. And I give a joke and I deliver the joke in such a way that like no one would laugh. They would laugh and be like they see that I'm forcing it, And it took me a long time to really, in fact, I didn't learn it. You know what happened? I took over this business and my mind got consumed with other opportunities. I kept the comedy going, still going, but my mind got consumed with all these other business opportunities with the food and the catering and the branding and the this and that and the finances. Now when I go on stage, I feel completely different. I'm like, laugh, don't laugh. I don't care. This is my material. This is who I am. Take me, leave me. I don't give a shit. And sure enough, it's coming off way better.
More natural because you don't have time to think about it prior to that lead up getting on stage. You're just like, oh, I got the comedy show tonight. Let's go.
Boom.
And then it's more natural.
Boom. I feel like my wonderful kids also help me with that. And just getting married, like I get a little bit more consumed with a whole bunch of other shit that you're right. I don't have time to worry. I don't have time to be anxious. I don't have time to think. I don't,
No, you deal with what's in front of you.
almost forced to be in the moment more.
Correct. Kids will do that to you.
Yeah. It's almost like you put more shit in your life and you're forced to be in the moment more.
Well, I think for me, kids makes things like your priorities are more paramount. They come to the fore. So you really don't have a lot of time.
Right. You got to make decisions.
So you
gotta
pick you got to strip stuff away that you're spending time on that don't really matter or not going to get you to where you want to go.
It's like squeaky wheel gets the oil. Have you heard that before?
Yeah, I have. Yeah,
like that.
Yeah.
You have kids?
We've got he's 3 next month.
Hey,
John Oliver. Yeah,
John Oliver.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
Were you inspired by the comedian John Oliver?
It's yes, great show. One of our favorite comedians.
Yeah.
I wanted to call him Oliver John.
Okay.
But then his initials would have been OJ and OJS. So my wife was like, "No, we're not doing that. I want to call him like the juice. The juice is loose in the house." And so that got nixed. But we call him Ollie. So it's John Oliver. We call him Ollie.
Ollie. No,
I'm taking him to the Monster Truck Show on Saturday, and I can't wait to see his head explode. Like
a Monster Truck Show.
Yeah. So this is my life now. It's like family, work, and
Monster Truck shows.
And Monster Truck shows. Yeah.
I was also inspired by a hero of mine. My son's name is Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, you're right.
And inspired by the boxer.
Yeah.
And of course inspired also by our faith and our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his companion Ali, who's a disciple of his, actually his cousin. So just great heroes in Islam. And so I'm like, yo, this is a great name for multiple reasons. But that's funny.
You have a very positive spin on that one, but the person that I just mentioned is it could backfire on my poor son.
You mean the OJ?
Yes,
totally backfire. If it don't fit, you must acquit. Do you remember? Do you remember the OJ? You were back in Ireland.
It was in '97. I remember it well.
You were in Ireland, of course, right?
I was in final year of high school. So
final year of high school.
Yeah, we were like I think it was in May or June of that year, and I just remember we were studying for exams.
Yeah, it was around summertime. I think.
Yeah, it was. I think, and we had these big exams, like our SATs of equivalent. So we'd always we'd finish an exam, run back and get the verdict. We were fine. It was big news back then.
Big news
because this is before all reality TV.
Right. This was reality.
Cable, major cable networks in Europe. There was still Sky, but you didn't have the access to entertainment as you do now, so it was captivating. It really was. It's like top of the news hour in Ireland.
Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
With John. Here's what's gonna be funny here, James. I think either John was in diapers when OJ trial went, or John wasn't born.
What year was the OJ trial?
97.
97?
Was it 97?
Yeah.
It wasn't 94?
I thought it was 97.
97, so I'd probably been 1 year old.
97 would be 1, and if it was 94, you wouldn't have been born.
Yeah, I was probably a little less than 1.
So OJ's kind of history to you.
Yeah.
Damn.
It was a really moving time in my life too. Being that old.
We might need to fact check the year of that, but
can you check it, John?
Yeah, sure.
OJ trial verdict. So here's I was listening to someone recently, and they said he was in I think 6th or 7th grade. He said his whole class was taken down to the gym, and on a big screen they put
like a tornado drill.
Yeah, kind of like a tornado drill. And I don't know if they put it on the screen. No, I don't think they put it on the screen, but they announced everyone wanted to let you know about the OJ verdict.
It's kind of messed up.
It's weird. That's fucked
really
up. Completely
weird.
Fucked up. And they're like, OJ's been found. OJ's not guilty. He's been found innocent. And he said that the whole gym erupted in cheering. What are they cheering for? It was bizarre.
Cheering more for OJ than their high school basketball team,
Yeah, right.
Weird.
Exactly. Bizarre. I just want to hear. OJ is such a weird thing in our culture. It's such a weird thing to happen. But I do think it was precursor to reality TV.
Could be right there. Yeah, it was. The ratings were astronomical.
Killer, right?
That's how people became aware of the Kardashians.
Robert Kardashian, the lawyer.
He started it all.
That's right.
So crazy. It's so crazy. Yeah, I hear the phone ringing in my back over the restaurant. I'm like, why doesn't somebody pick up the damn phone? That could be an order.
I can't hear it.
But here's my worry.
October 3rd, 1995.
95.
Okay, so in between us, 95.
So that was about a year before I was born.
It's crazy.
There you go.
I was 15. So we've hired a new chef in the last few months at this restaurant. He's a wonderful chef. He's a Charlie Trotter protege.
Nice.
And he worked as a chef de cuisine for Rick Bayless for 6 years.
Wow.
great pedigree. He's doing some awesome things to our menu. Guys,
It looks
come on
great.
in.
Food looks phenomenal. It looks fresh, and so you're
So good, right? Thank you very much,
got
James.
your mom in there slaving away.
Okay, fine.
She runs this operation.
She's the heart and soul, baby. She's the heart and soul.
Yeah.
I was gonna say she's the one who's running the show.
I can see that. I can see that with my own eyes.
I'm just in the back of my mind. I'm a little worried as we do this podcast. I'm like, I wonder if it's busy downstairs because I should be down there because an article was written on our chef in the newspaper. Someone came out from the local paper, Hyde Park Herald, and wrote an article about him because they heard about his background and they're kind of excited about it. And so I'm like, I wonder if people are reading the article and from that publicity coming in. So after this podcast, we'll have to find out.
Nice.
But anyway, so that was OJ and our kids' names and coronavirus. Nice. God help us.
Went on a tangent there.
All right, so I got to ask something else. So something I noticed about you, it said you are a quote unquote certified negotiation expert. Is that bullshit or are you really legit certified?
I am certified.
Really? You can get certified?
There's classes for that.
No shit.
Yeah, and you get extra credits because every 2 years you got to renew your license. They got to make sure that you're keeping up to date with ethics and licensing laws that might change. So to save yourself going through the same class again, you can take these extra classes that go towards credit. So I took the CNE.
Gotcha. CNE, certified negotiation
and
expert.
it was it took a couple of days, but it was very worthwhile. It was just little nuggets on what to do when you're having a conversation with another agent about the negotiations, the nitty gritty, the back and forth, and what to say and what not to say.
What to say and what not to say. Yeah. What's like? Okay, so give us a little crash course in this.
So the biggest thing is listening, and posing a question. I know, like asking the question just to try and get some information out. But once you ask it, just shut up and listen. Shut up and listen. Yeah.
But should you be listening for something?
Well, it depends because you could be we're negotiating all the time. Everywhere we go, we're negotiating.
Are we negotiating in this conversation, you think?
Possibly.
Maybe.
We could be negotiating something in the future. We could be. So especially with a seller, like again, it goes to this, you don't want to be very direct. Sometimes you want to have like questions that open them up. If you say, hey, will you sell at, 1.2? They're like, no.
Right. That's very direct.
The conversation over.
Yeah. That's a shitty way to approach it.
If you have questions that are lateral questions that kind of
go sideways, right?
Go around the frontal questions.
Yeah.
That are very yes and no. We'll get them talking, and then
more open-ended
questions about why they need to sell, or where they're thinking of moving to, and just let them talk, and then they start complaining about this and that, and you start agreeing with them, and why they think the market's bad, but you just listen, and they can give you some certain information about like a divorce that they're going through, or pain points or whatnot. So there's always information that they're giving out. And that's one of the keys is just to listen.
That's good. So you're a negotiation expert. Yo, John, if you get kidnapped again, dude, we know who to get you out of this, who can negotiate your rescue.
All right. Then I won't be like last time.
I think you're screwed. I think you're screwed there, buddy.
Yeah. No. It won't be like last time. You'll get him out of the trunk of the car, right? Last time you were in that trunk for a while, right?
Yeah, I mean, got pretty hot in there, but...
We just went through a deal there, and there was a
hostage situation.
Yeah, it was a hostage. Worked out okay. There was a battle over something really, really small between the buyers and the sellers over like a home warranty, and it was potentially going to break the deal.
Oh shit!
But we stood our ground and just said nothing.
As buyers.
So you just held our ground.
Let them talk.
Maintain a stance and let them talk and spin around and worry, because you have to understand your position in a negotiation too. It's like
okay. What does that mean?
Well, if you're the buyer or the seller,
okay,
like for the product as well, it's like you got to know your strength, especially if there's a particular product that a seller is trying to sell that's vacant and they're paying
okay.
monthly fees on and insurance and all.
You got him by the balls a little bit.
Yeah, we're a genuine buyer, so it's like know your value.
Right.
And
That's very valuable to a person.
And make sure you understand that all the way through, and don't let them kind of push you around. Now, if it's like a single family home that's got multiple offers, your power is curtailed somewhat, because there's like two other guys who are clamoring to get the door, knock down the door and buy this place. So you're, as a seller, the negotiation, it shifts. Then the power becomes more on the seller side. So you just understand like all the
where you are in that dynamic,
right? And then
it'll change the way you respond.
It will, and it could change throughout the deal. It's really, it's such a generic thing to say, but it's like, it's case by case, but
it sounds like it's deal by deal, but also in a deal, it's changing moment to moment as well, depending on where you are in that negotiation.
Correct.
So in the initial part, it might just be getting the seller to see his place is vacant, that you're a genuine buyer. But once he's on board, if there's a new issue, then you got to be like, oh, wait.
Well, you got to, yeah.
We may not be standing on both feet in this part of the negotiation.
Right, because the people who were thinking about buying it too, they've gone off and bought something else, and now you've really got to hold on to this buyer.
I got you.
There's shifts like that, market timing. Like there could be, people worried about coronavirus, and that now the markets. I just saw the market today. It's like 6 days in a row. It's like shitting the bed.
Yeah, you see that?
Well, I don't even know what it is right now, but it was like 10 minutes after the open, it was down 450 points.
Today?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I haven't seen it since.
It's been a rough week for the Dow.
It has. So, but people's 401ks are going to get hit.
That's right.
And they might be pulling their down payment from that. So it's like there's a lot of psychology. There's a huge psychology to well, you remember trading on the floor, and that's probably where you could sense it, you can feel it, you can cut. And
if we didn't mention it before, you were a trader on the grain. You were in
the grain room. In the grain room, I worked for O'Connor and Company. Down in bean pit and the corn pit and the wheat
bean pit and the corn pit
and the wheat pit as well.
And the wheat pit. Yeah. It was regular straight futures or options.
Futures. Straight futures.
Okay, gotcha.
You could sense like when the room had turned, when it became from buyers into sellers,
right?
And it's palpable. Like you can sense it in a deal as well. And when you have like something that's very sought after, like we were up in Bucktown, we just put a house on the market. Like it's a very popular area, priced really well, and the floodgates open. There was just multiple buyers that.
Oh, is that right?
During the open house, and you just you have the power.
All right, so hey, let me ask you a question. So I told you earlier about this unfortunate incident on the 606 trail.
Yeah.
A person riding the bike was pushed off their bike by a criminal and stabbed. All right. Fortunately, the person is in stable condition.
Mm-hmm.
But my wife, she's like, I'm done with the 606. I'm no longer running on it. She's been running on the 606 for over a year. Maybe, 2.5, 3 years. And she's like, I prefer not. I've always felt a little weird when I'm the only one at noon on the 606. She's like, at least on the street, there's like people around. She's like, on the 606, sometimes like for half a mile or a mile, there's no one.
Really?
And I'm like, I get it. She's like, maybe I'll be cool on the weekends when it's fuller, but I don't know if I'm a weekday 606 person anymore. Do you think an incident like that gets so much press will have an impact on the housing in that area?
No. Short answer, no.
Yeah?
I think the thing about what you have to worry about over there is the moratorium on development that's been in place by.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. So,
by the way, listeners, maybe people don't know, we live in an area called Bucktown, my wife and I, and then there's a elevated park that's called the 606 Trail that basically bikers and pedestrians and runners will run on, and it's like a unobstructed pathway for it goes on for 3 or 4 miles.
Yep.
So that's what I'm talking about. And someone was stabbed on that trail, and it's spooking us out, and I bet it's spooking a lot of people out. You're saying you don't think that one stabbing that got the media will have a big impact on buyers, but you're saying the moratorium over there may have an impact.
Well, yeah, for development, yeah, because
There's
they
a
can't tear
development
down.
moratorium?
Yeah, they're talking about it. Maldonado's proposing that
Oh, really?
you can't. It's to curb gentrification.
Yeah. Because that area has gentrified quite a bit.
It has, and he's the older one over there, and he's proposed that moratorium goes in that you can't tear down any existing buildings and put something new up.
But here's the thing. If even just him talking about that, wouldn't you think that would make the price of the properties there actually go up because now supply is going down?
So, great point. There's going to be an element of that depending on what the property is. If it's existing new construction, yes, there will be a demand for existing new construction.
Right.
But there's going to be no turnover of old properties. So there's going to be streets where, you're going to be interlaced with tear downs that might not be that might be undesirable for someone who's going in there and buying new construction property and there's a tear down next to it.
Right.
And it's never going to be torn down. It's like, you don't want to be the most expensive house on a block.
Right.
You always want to buy, in the middle, or buy the shittiest one on the block, and then do it up.
Develop it.
So you can you elevate your own property.
Right. Anyway, I missed that. So why don't you want to buy the most expensive house on the block?
Because you're the comp. You're the top comp. So it's going to be harder for you to
when you go to sell.
Biggest thing. And I tell some of my buyers, and I don't know if it's talked about. I'm sure a lot of great, there's a lot of great agents out there, and they have this conversation with their buyers. Is it's easy to buy something. It's who's going to buy it from you. That's the most important thing you have to ask yourself.
You got to think about your exit strategy.
Correct. It's like a trading, right? You buy something, a liquid stock in a pharmaceutical company. It's like, you can buy it. You can buy 1,000 shares of, well, try get it out of that thing,
right?
When you need to.
Yeah, no.
So there's no paper.
Yeah, you won't be able to sell it.
Right. So the same thing with a house.
Same idea there. So if you buy the most expensive house on the block, you're going to risk that. Well, you're pricing yourself out of the market.
Well, your price is the value of a house is derived from your closest neighbors, from your block, from your block, your neighborhood. So you can go street by street, and value is like on a sliding scale. So when there's a different land price that's different from west of Western versus east of Western.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get into a core area of like a submarket like Logan Square, where you have the blue line and you have the surrounding areas there, it's like primo properties and they're all very expensive. When you go to the peripheral of that area, the same like for like, apples to apples, there's a different value on that. So if you're one of those houses that's pimped out, but you're on the peripheral, you can't pull from the other comps that are on different streets. You're going to be they're going to be looking at your street, your 3 blocks, and then go out from there.
Right. That makes sense. Cool, man. Your real estate knowledge or experience combined with your market knowledge, and I think did you study economics? Yeah. So all that together, deadly Irish combo, right?
It's I like thinking about it. I like and enjoy like the nuances of it, and really thinking about street by street, and if it goes one way east or one way west, and because it's not just this. There's all different things that create value.
Yeah, that impact value. Yeah, just like the trail. When the trail opened up, the value of all those properties just jumped.
Yeah, Yeah, they considerably. There was the High Line in New York was something similar. I don't know if
High Line in New York. I heard about that.
Yeah,
it's a similar thing.
They opened up when they opened within 12 months. Commercial real estate was up 50%, and 50% within 3 blocks, and then the residential was up 100% in value.
Wait. What was the first one that was up 50%? Commercial.
Yeah.
Wow.
And residential, like condos, they just jumped. So it's like transportation. Like what are the main drivers of real estate? It's like transportation links, amenities like parks,
totally,
high lines, elevated parks, and schools. They're the three main drivers. So if you can get 3 in those 3, it's like you're going to be fine.
I never thought about it that way. So schools, parks. I would even say / churches, maybe, or like
Not so much
religious?
anymore.
No,
not so much anymore.
So
no.
schools, parks, and specialty like transportation or highline things like that.
Church, if there's a school associated with it, yes.
Oh, okay, yeah,
like
yeah.
a Catholic school
Yeah, St.
or something like
Anthony's or
that.
whatever, right,
Correct.
right.
That's a driver, but it's even though if you don't have kids, it's like it's people you're going to sell to might have kids, so it's like you have to think about it.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yep.
Nice. All right, so one other thing I've thought about. Diarmid was a hurler, and he came to Chicago to hurl. Do you do any of that?
No.
Never?
No.
You've never played the game in your
I
life?
think I tried to hit a hurl once, and it didn't go very well. It was in Irish college. I come from a different part of Ireland than Diarmid. I'm Dublin.
You're Midlands.
He's the Midlands. He's
Midlands?
Offaly, and then I'm East Coast. But we played rugby.
And the Midlands is like more rural, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the coasts are more urban, I guess?
More urban, yeah. From the capital, so half the population of Ireland. Well, yeah, it's probably about that. 2 million people live in Dublin, surrounding city.
Damn.
So, yeah, it's all very, very spread out. But that's where I grew up and played rugby. And
you played rugby?
Focused on rugby and soccer versus Gaelic and Gaelic football and Gaelic the Gaelic sports.
Yeah, those are going to be those seem like they're much more indigenous type of sports.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Love watching it. It's fantastic. It's the fastest. Hurling is the fastest field sport in the world.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Meaning like the game time?
No, the speed of the ball as it's hit.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
So you got to keep up.
Oh, it's lethal. Like, yeah. And not so long ago, they weren't wearing. I think masks might be.
Yeah, he was talking about that.
Might be mandatory now.
Yeah,
I'm not sure, but yeah, it was only a few years ago.
Yeah.
Because it cut down their vision, so they didn't like wearing them.
Oh,
their peripheral
really?
vision. So yeah, these guys they're nuts.
Why'd you move to the States?
My cousin, he was established over here. He was operating a bar in Lincoln Park, and we came over for a summer as a student exchange program.
Yeah. I've got people who've come work here before as part of an Irish student.
It's J1 program, so it's not even a student exchange. It's just like you can get a visa for like 4 months and come and work for your summer holiday.
So you did that
while you're in college? Yes. So
while you're in college?
Yeah. So you come over here, and he was established and had a bar up in Lincoln Park, and I bartended behind the bar, and that was it. It was just like first summer here, I was like, that's it, I'm done.
Now wait, you went back and finished college, right?
Correct. Yeah, I went back fourth a couple of times, but that was 20 years ago this summer.
Yeah, and then at some point you're like, this is where I want to live.
I knew pretty much Chicago was like that first summer. It was like,
there's a huge Irish population here, so it's not like you're too far from home.
No, and it's the Irish population that is here is very close knit. You know, there's probably like New York and Boston have vastly more amounts of Irish that have or off the boat Irish that are living there, especially New York, 150,000. I think the number is that actually were born around. Chicago's like 7,000. But what are here, the Irish that are here, that we look after each other, and we generally we help each other out, and help their businesses grow. Right. And
now I saw you're president of the Chicago Irish.
No, former president.
Former.
Yeah, I did.
What is
2
it called?
years. It's the Ireland Network.
Ireland Network.
Yeah.
Did that help you get a lot of business? Would you say?
It
may not have been your intention, but
indirectly, yes.
Indirectly, yes.
Yeah, but it goes back to like, not trying to force things.
Yeah.
When I started out in real estate, I thought like the advice I was given was like make sure everyone knows you're in real estate, which is great advice.
Yeah.
Well,
make yourself known.
I think there was an element there. You might have forced things like too early on in my career, where I was like,
that's what I was saying about comedy.
Yeah.
In my early, he's trying to force it.
You try to force things. So,
so you'd almost push it too hard. You're saying?
Yeah. Looking back,
business card on your forehead.
Well, pretty much the guy. My buddies I go off with, like they joke, like anytime they have an event, like I set up a stand and like a t-shirt gun with it's like confetti coming out with my business cards. It's not that extreme, but they get a good laugh about it. But that essentially, it's just trying to force it too much. So now it's like it's getting just being seen. I think that's
it's a balance, right? You if you don't make yourself known that you do XYZ, restaurants or real estate, you ain't ever going to get any business.
No.
But if you only do that and you're out of balance, and that's weird
That's
too.
a great point. That's a great point. If you only do that, then it's like you're that you don't have any substance to yourself.
Yeah.
You're
One dimensional.
correct. So yeah, you try and do all these different things so you can get in touch different spheres, and it comes organically, because then people are like, it's a question that everyone asks in America. It's like, what do you do?
Yeah, of course.
It's just an
People
icebreaker.
don't do that in Ireland.
Nah, really, they're funny about it. Like,
my wife hates that question. The other day, she's like, I'm like, so what do they do? She was hanging out with a friend. I'm like, so what does your friend do? And she's like, I don't know why you guys. My wife's we're Middle Eastern.
Yeah.
We're Palestinian, and she's born and raised near Dubai, so she's new to America in the last few years. And she's like, what's this question? I don't even ask that question. I'm like, really? She's like, yeah. I asked her, like, do you work out, or like, what do you do for fun, or who, how many kids do you have, or what, She's like, but what do you do? Is that the most important thing? I'm like, yeah, we're American. That's all that matters.
Yeah. If you like, it's Irish can be kind of cagey. Well,
why are you asking me?
Yeah, like the FBI ask more. You ask more questions than the FBI. Like, so they can't. Like, if you met someone at an event and you asked them for your phone number, here it's like we exchange information very readily. It's like, you have a business card, but call me. We'll
all the time.
We'll go for coffee. Whatever.
In America, all the time.
Ireland, they're like, they look at you going, what are you doing? You're like, why do you want my number? Like,
almost how if you walk up to a girl at a bar and be like, what's your number? That's how the Irish would be like, what do you want my number for?
Right.
Because when it's business and it's business cards, it feels safe. But once it's like in the social world and you start asking people for numbers, it's a little weird.
It is. And there's that, yeah.
But wait, even in, let's say there's a conference in Dublin that's only Irish companies or something. That's not weird.
No. I haven't been in that position to do it.
Oh, okay, to say, yeah.
So like, it's just more in a social setting.
Got you.
I think that would be,
which is a little bit similar.
And they're like, their mindset is changing on it, because it's Irish culture has its own very unique culture, but we kind of bridge and we straddle like two main big influences are American culture from movies and TV,
right? Exactly.
And then also we've got very close links with English culture,
of course.
All the soccer jerseys. You walk down the street in Dublin, you see like Manchester United, Liverpool, like all the English teams. So we watch all their same programs. So whether we like it or not, we have kind of adapted as a,
of course,
as a we're very apt at like getting on well in these countries. Like the Irish that do come over here typically are very, they're driven and successful, and they get on very well with
totally
different cultures, because we've been exposed to a lot of things.
Yeah,
we do a lot of traveling. Like you
guys are right in between the English and the Americans.
Well, next stop is Boston from the tip of Ireland. Like we're the closest. Like we've always been a big strategic base for America during they have a base. They don't have a base, but they use like Shannon Airport as a refueling stop.
Shannon Airport, yeah.
When they go out to,
what I heard? There's a connection between Muslims and the Irish. So I heard this recently, that in the potato famine in the what was it, 1800s, I think?
Mid 1800s, yeah.
Mid 1800s. The Ottoman Empire would send over quite a bit of food, I believe. Did you hear this before?
No.
Yeah. And as a result, the Irish, is it on their flag or somewhere? I forget. They kind of do a shout out in some way to the Ottomans.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not on the flag. The flag there's no symbol on the flag. And there's it's the tricolor. It's the
you're right.
Green, white, and orange.
Yeah, exactly. I can't remember what it was, but in some way to honor as kind of like pay homage to the Ottomans for helping them in that period. Did something, and I can't remember what it was.
The American Indians did something similar as well.
Oh, really? With the Irish?
Yeah.
What was that?
It was donation. They
during
donated,
the famine,
like donated food. Yeah, a lot of people.
Wow.
Yeah. There's other groups from around the world. Yeah, they heard their plight, and they saw people in need, and They were very generous. There's a lot of stories like that.
That's good, man. I miss those days, brother. I wish those days were around now. I mean, I'm sure there's good countries doing good things for many other countries. I just feel like we don't hear about it. You know? We hear about fucking coronavirus. That's all I hear about all day long.
It's very controlled, isn't it?
Hell
it's
yeah.
I try not. I don't watch the news anymore.
Right.
It's hard when you're walking around because you got your phone and you get these. I try and minimize my news apps on it.
Yeah, smart.
But you still get flashes of like coronavirus and
Right.
in Boston, wherever it is. It's hard to stay away from it, but I try and stay away from it the most as possible.
Yeah. I've been training myself to almost like breathe before I read the news because I feel like I have to read it. I just got to be aware. And so almost like find a way to consume it without letting it consume me. I don't know how to do it yet. If y'all got ideas.
It's a nice idea.
Yeah.
Very, very hard.
Good luck, Armor.
Very, very hard to employ. For me, anyway, because I used to watch the news and I get so mad at it because of political situation. And I think it's designed. It's designed to do that to get you riled up.
Yes, freak the shit out of you.
Right.
That's what they're doing. James Sheehan, great to have you on, brother. Where can more people learn about you if they want to hook up with you in some way?
So my website, J Sheehan Real Estate, jsheehanore.com, jsheehanore.com.
Yeah. Wait. JSHEEHAN.
Or for Robert, E as in real estate.
What's or for Robert?
Well,
you mean O?
No, we have this problem when
I'm not understanding you, brother.
Yeah, I know. This. I talk funny. Yeah, get used to it. I've had to.
I like it. You instead of saying but, you've been saying but.
There's some things I have to, some things that I say that I have to adapt to get understood. But R is not. I don't say R.
Yeah, you don't say R.
That's a pirate says R.
R. Wait. So what are you saying, James? So J Sheehan.
Yeah.
Or.
Yeah, R.
Is or R?
R, like real estate.
Gotcha.
This could be a stand-up. This could be a stand-up there right here.
All right, J Sheehan R.
You know what? Text me, 773-368-1977.
1977.
1977. That's it. Yeah. Thank you very much for having me on the show.
And you can just Google James Sheehan Chicago.
That's right.
You're going to come up because you've done a whole bunch of real estate.
That's right. I really appreciate you bringing me on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure, man.
Pleasure, brother. JD, we out, brother.
All right. Thank y'all.
We just wrapped up. Peace.